Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel IB Made Easy by Garima Chhabra. Today we will be starting with the third unit of IBDP Economics, that is macroeconomics. Before getting into the first chapter of macroeconomics, we should understand what does it mean? What does it include? Macroeconomics is basically that branch of economics which studies economy as a whole and not individuals, firms, or households. It takes everything in totality. It focuses on the aggregate part, not the price of an individual product, quantity of a product, but the aggregate demand of all the goods and services produced in an economy, general prices of all the goods and services in the economy rather than the price of a product or quantity of a product. Some of the topics of macroeconomics are national income, employment and unemployment, overall output, inflation. All these topics are studied keeping in mind economy as a whole. Now the question arises, why do we need to study macroeconomics? We study macroeconomics to evaluate government policies, in which direction government policies are going, to understand how a particular economy is performing and what are the economic problems faced by that particular country, what are the living standards, and to know the economic well-being of the people of that country. Now, there are some macroeconomic aims and objectives which the government works toward. Government wants to achieve these aims. We will be studying these aims as separate chapters, but in a glance, first macroeconomic objective is economic growth. Economic growth basically means increase in the real GDP of the country. Then we have low unemployment. It means generating more and more job opportunities for the people of the country. Then slow and stable inflation, which means keeping the prices stable, not there is no much fluctuation in the general prices of the economy. Then equitable distribution of income, which means reducing the gap between different income groups of the country. Then balance of payment and stability, which means healthy trade and financial flows. Now, the first chapter of macroeconomics is measuring economic activity and illustrating its variations. The key concept that will be used in measuring economic activity is change, and the another one is economic well-being. Change because a country has different economic activity level at different point of times. Sometimes there may be more consumption and production, sometimes economic activities are very less. The situation of economic activity changes from time to time, hence change as the key concept. If we talk about economic well-being, fluctuations in the economic activity decides the economic well-being of a country or the society. If the economic activities are increasing, that means production, consumption, distribution is increasing, it shows that people are now in the economically good well-being situation. But how do we measure economic activity? We measure economic activity by measuring national income. What does that mean? National income is basically the value. Please focus here, value and not the quantity. Value means price element is also included in this. National income is basically the value of all the goods and services produced in an economy during a period of time. We can measure national income by calculating GDP. GDP includes all the goods and services that are produced in the domestic territory of a country. It is the value of all the goods and services that are produced in the boundaries, national boundaries of a country. So we can measure economic activity by measuring national income. We can measure national income by calculating GDP. But how to calculate GDP? We have three methods to calculate GDP. First is output method, second is expenditure method, and third is income method. All of these three gives same value. Let's study output method. Output method basically measures the actual value, again value, of all the final or finished goods and services produced within an economy each year. We take the value of final or finished goods just to prevent the double counting. What does it actually mean? Let's suppose a farmer sold flour to the bread maker for $5. Then bread maker, after processing, sold the bread to sandwich maker for $15. Now that $15 already includes the value of flour, that is $5. So 15 already has $5. We will not take $5 separately. Then sandwich makers sold that sandwich to the customer for $35. In that $35, value of flour, that is $5, and the value of bread, that is $15, is already included. So the final value that comes out is $35. While calculating GDP through output method, we take the value of final good and not the raw material value. This method is also known as national output method because in this we take the value of all the final goods that are produced in a country. Next method is income method. Under income method, we calculate the value of all the rewards that are given to the factors of production for producing goods and services. This method is also known as national income method. So, wages and salaries for labor, rent for land, interest for capital, and profits for enterprise. All these four rewards for factor of production are added to get GDP from income method. Since the income is given for the output produced, hence Y is equal to O. Y is used to denote income in economics. Next is expenditure method. In expenditure method, we take the sum of all the spendings, all the expenditure done by all the components in the economy. But these spending needs to be done on newly produced goods only, so that we can know how many new goods are produced, because GDP includes value of goods and services produced. So we can know how many new goods and services are produced in the economy. It has four components. First is consumption expenditure, denoted by letter C. Consumption expenditure include the spending or the expenditure of all the households and individuals on goods and services in an economy. For example, you buy fruits, you buy vegetables, clothes. It forms the consumption expenditure. It is the largest component of GDP under expenditure method. Then we have investment expenditure, denoted by letter I. It includes the expenditure done by all the firms on capital goods to increase their production capacity. It is also called gross fixed capital formation. Then we have government spending, denoted by letter G, which includes all the spendings done by the public sector. For example, spendings on building roads, street lights, public hospitals, public schools, etc. All these comes under government spendings. Then we have net exports, that is X minus M. It is basically the difference between countries' export and import expenditure in the year. Export is added, whereas import is deducted from the GDP, because import, the expenditure done on import by the nationals of a country are already included in the consumption expenditure element, but these are the goods that are actually produced outside the country, so these needs to be deducted to get the actual value of goods that are produced in the country. And hence the summation of all these components, C plus I plus G plus X minus M, gives the GDP through expenditure method. The answer, the value of all the methods are equal. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know your doubts and the topics that you want me to discuss in the comment section. Like, share and subscribe to watch more such videos.